Clark currently ranked second in the ACC in assists. He's 9 assists away from breaking John Crotty's career record at Virginia. Every time he suits up, he's passing somebody of note or breaking some sort of record.
He provides a stability for this group. Without question, he is the straw that stirs the drink for the Cavaliers.
Bert Smith, Jamie Lucky, Paul Sells are officials tonight. Virginia with the opening tip. Louisville wearing uniforms as part of Black History Month. More on the specifics of the jerseys later on. Virginia coming off a win against Duke, a half game behind Pitt in the ACC. Shot clock in single digits. That does not bother UVA. Clark with 3 to shoot. To the baseline, and Jaden Gardner can't get the roll. The rebound snagged by Kamari Lands, the freshman, getting the start after a nice game against Miami over the weekend. Ellis, who controls, had a career-high 33 in that loss to Miami, a game in which Louisville scored 85, but gave up 93.
And that's part of it. Defensively, they've got to lock in. They've got the length to do it, and they must. It's imperative. Take care of the basketball.
This is Withers, corner 3 goes. Jalen Withers shooting 51% from deep in conference play, and a Louisville team that is just 3-22 with 1 league win has the early lead on number 7 Virginia.
Look, it's a Louisville team that knocked down 10 threes against Miami. They're feeling a little bit from distance.
Vander Plas, no good for the Ohio transfer. Virginia starting the small lineup again, Jordan.
Had a lot of success with that lineup, but they can trot out a bunch of different looks. Coach Bennett has versatility and a bench that can produce.
There is Lands, pulls up, too strong, and the rebound by Vander Plas. Starters for Virginia, Clark and Beekman both rank in the top 3 in the conference in assists. Franklin, the team's leading scorer, as Clark corkscrews inside, and the rebound pulled down by J.J. Traynor.
Nice hesitation to open up the gap. Just couldn't finish and punctuate.
Ellis has a mismatch, gives it up instead to Mike James.
You got to get it down low. That's a mismatch. Failure to identify, that's where this group can grow. Traynor on Clark, and yet still, they're not trying to attempt to get the ball to him.
Withers will try the turnaround. He doesn't get it, and that's something we've seen from Louisville this year. Offensively, no connectivity at times.
6'8" versus 5'10" on the low block. Trainer's got to demand a touch. They got to play in space to allow him a touch.
Franklin on the drive, knocked away. Last touch, Louisville. And that's spoken like a true big guy. 6'8" on 5'10". If you don't throw me the ball, you're mad coming down the floor.
Hoop heads know we're yelling mouse in the house. Give me the basketball. You got to command it to get that attention. A missed opportunity.
Is mouse in the house a cousin of Boar on the floor?
Absolutely. Boar on the floor would sound weird to yell. More commonplace, mouse in the house.
4 on the shot clock. Beekman driving off the window. The putback by Vander Plas.
Rippon's finest. Right place, right time.
The Ripon, Wisconsin native. You shocked me today with your knowledge of Ripon, Wisconsin during shoot-around.
The home of Ripon Good Cookies. The home of Doug and Shirley Pepler. My in-laws.
Here is Ellis. Leading scorer for the Cardinals. Now Traynor thought about the 3, puts it on the floor over Vander Plas. And the rebound chased down by the Ohio transfer. Beekman for 3. That one no good, but he is vastly improved from deep this season.
They're getting the looks they want.
Ellis swivels inside, could not finish. Now Virginia the other way. Jordan, you start to say, what's different about this Virginia team? Offensively, far more firepower and much better than in years past. They've always been efficient on offense, but this team, it might be where the offense is ahead of the defense.
Yeah, that's fine because, look, the 2019 National Championship team was to that degree as well. They led with offense, but they were very good defensively.
Elite.
And pros, loaded with them on that roster, impact pros. What you do have with this perimeter in Virginia is 3 elite two-way players. They can guard and they can score, and Franklin's one of them working right here.
There's Withers. He's got 5 for Louisville, all 5 for the Cardinals.
He's been really good the last 6 games. Starting to become confident, understanding his role, leaning into his ability and efficient, and knocking down those threes, as you mentioned earlier.
Virginia's won 9 out of 10 entering play. Franklin working on James. Now it's Clark. Lines up a 3 and hits. And Kihei Clark with his first field goal. He had 16 points, 5 assists over the weekend against Duke. Now the big key for Louisville tonight offensively, taking care of the basketball. They've struggled with turnovers. Virginia might not be as elite on defense as they've been in years past. They're still awfully good. Ellis kicks to Withers. He's had the hot hand. That one too strong, and it's Clark with the carry.
These are good offensive sequences, though, from Louisville. They're moving that basketball, getting looks they want. There's a level of competence to the offense we haven't seen.
Virginia gets it back after Clark turned it over. Beekman for 3, short. Rebound tapped out of bounds by Gardner. And that brings us to our first media timeout. Kenny Payne had a message for his Louisville team at shoot-around. We'll share that with you when we come back. Kenny Payne uttered a refrain at shoot-around today. He told his team a number of times, tonight is a golden opportunity. You have a top 10 team coming into your venue, into your house. This is a lost season for Louisville, 3-22. Frankly, it's one of the worst seasons to date in the history of the ACC by a member school. However, they're building a foundation. They're trying to install a culture. And if you're trying to use a moment as a springboard for next season, what better way than to win against a top 10 team?
Yeah, look, Anish, you never want to be in a position in February where you're trying to motivate your team, but that's absolutely of the utmost importance to a group that's gone through what they have. So there has to be specific messaging before each game to try and engage a group that suffered nothing but loss the entire season. And the idea to come out here and be a disruptor. Virginia's trying to play for a conference championship. They're also trying to improve their seeding for March Madness. Go out there and make it wonky is the message to this Louisville group, and so far they bought in, taking care of the basketball, giving themselves a chance.
Meanwhile, Virginia goes into a game where they're expected to win, and Tony Bennett telling us his message to his team was, we're in a race. Virginia is chasing Pittsburgh for first in the conference. That means the #1 seed in the ACC tournament. And, oh, by the way, Pitt holds the tiebreak with the head-to-head win against Virginia, so they may need a little bit of help.
And
but Tony Bennett knows the importance of that.
He didn't flinch in the response when I asked him that, because I said, these are challenging games. You're supposed to walk in there and win by 20. He right away said, we're playing for a championship.
Yep.
So he knows that these guys are locked in, understand the bigger picture, and to focus in every night you step on the floor.
This one into the backcourt with the shot clock winding down. And the turnover for Louisville. That is something to watch. That is officially their first turnover of the game.
And you look, 16 turnovers a game. What's really defined them with the turnovers, their live ball turnovers. Their pick sixes going the other way for baskets. They only gave the basketball away, these Cardinals, 12 times in that loss to Miami. That's great. 20 points off of those 12 turnovers is absurd.
That's not great. Armaan Franklin from the baseline. Franklin, Virginia's leading scorer, almost 13 a game. He had 23 against Duke on Saturday.
What a weapon he's become for this Virginia group. That 3-guard front of guards, versatility of the lineups, a lot to like.
Ellis, how many shots like that has he hit this season? Tough angle, falling away. So much is on the shoulders of Ellis.
He's a top 5 scorer in the conference, and I don't know if there's anybody who sees more defensive pressure and looks than Ellis, because he's truly the head of the snake for Louisville.
He took 20 shots against Miami over the weekend, more than a third of his team's total.
I mean, he's the head, he's the torso, he's the lower body.
He's the snake. Here's Vander Plas from the corner, and the rebound to Withers.
I feel like Virginia's starting to take more challenging shots. They're accepting what presents itself, and they can be a little bit more disciplined to take great ones every time down.
Withers fouled on the drive.
There's a reason there's NBA scouts here tonight. Look, they're here to watch Reese Beekman, Armaan Franklin, but they're also here to look at Ellis. He's got something to his game that is very intriguing. His knack for scoring the basketball That's at a premium at the next level. So this guy has it. I'd love to see him stay here at Louisville for another season, play off the ball, because I think that's where he's at his best.
He averages more than 17 a game. Sidney Curry has the finger roll, rim out.
Sidney Curry feasted on Virginia last season. A little bit later in the season, but on this home floor was really an announcement for him. Can he channel some of that against one of the elite teams in the country?
Yeah, he had 24 and 14. Here's Clark. He does not get that to go. Ellis pushing the other way. Withers for three. Another rebound to Kihei Clark, his third. Drops it off for Franklin, driving to the rim. The tip in not there, lands, pushes for the Cards. Ellis calling for it. Now Withers. Over to Hersey Miller. Ellis in the corner, and he'll slow. Ellis matched up by the freshman Chris Dunn. Ryan Dunn, excuse me. Here's Miller. Ellis for three. Yes.
Kihei Clark, a little too tentative in getting out. You've got to contest even more, a little bit lax. Hand up, yes, but not the pressure needed against a scorer like Ellis.
Isaac McNeely, the freshman, he's a sharpshooter. Clark drives. Withers in the passing lane. And it's been an inspired effort early on by Louisville. When we come back, the significance of the Cardinals jerseys will explain as well, the Black National Anthem. And the Louisville Cardinals tonight are wearing specialty uniforms to honor Black excellence and heritage. The uniforms feature a theme with cream colors, paying homage to cream of the planet, and the golden flowers reflect flowers regional to Louisville, such as the state flower, the goldenrod.
It's part of our culture, man. You know we're going to be styling. Those jerseys, look for an athlete, put on a new jersey, it represents something, although every time you put on a Louisville jersey, quite frankly, it should. Sometimes you get an elevated, inspiring to take your word type of play. That's what we've had here in the first 9 minutes for this Louisville team against a team that is far superior in the opponent in Virginia. One turnover for a Louisville group, 2 of 4 from 3. These are stats that can keep them in games, and defensively holding Virginia to a shooting percentage of 27%. Everything going right.
Shot clock down to 4. Beekman, he's got to put it up, drives, fades, and a foul called on Hersey Miller right as the shot clock was winding down.
It was a foul. I mean, he got contact on the delivery from Beekman, and it's a bailout because he was in great position. At least at first look, it looked to be a foul. So he stays, yeah, I mean, come on. It's a foul. It better be quick in the review here because the hand clearly caught the arm. It disrupted the shot, no question.
Virginia, the beneficiary of a no foul call at the end of their win against Duke on Saturday. That was when Kyle Filipowski was initially called for drawing a foul and a drive to the rim, but after review, the foul was overturned. Officials said the foul came after the buzzer. The game went to overtime. Virginia ends up winning, and then ACC officials said that, hey, that was the incorrect ruling. If a play occurs after the buzzer while the ball is in midair, as was the case, it's still a foul.
Well, this one is too going to go Virginia's way. A little bit more rightfully so in this sequence. I do want to say this because that officiating crew's got a lot of flack. Their names don't need to be mentioned again. They've been mentioned throughout that Virginia-Duke game aftermath. That's an elite officiating crew. They made a mistake. They understand that they need to be aware of the rules at the very baseline of things. But there was 5 minutes in overtime to get it done, I understand. But that crew is an elite crew.
And after video review, it is a 2-shot foul. So Beekman to the free throw line. Saturday against Duke. This is typical Reese Beekman. He only scored 4 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, a block, 3 steals, he does not have to fill up the scoring column to impact the game.
And that's what's so interesting. The portfolio is diversified with the approach.
Got a little real estate
for Virginia, a little bit
international,
everything. It's a little bit
domestic.
everything. Buy Stockton in here before March, by the way.
They're attending to Gardner, getting the blood off his hands.
I feel like we haven't played basketball in a year. Let's get back to the action. We actually, against all odds, have a good one here in the first 10 minutes.
We're waiting so long that Godot may step into the arena at any moment. 1 out of 2.
Half of people loving it, other half Googling right now. I don't have reception.
Samuel Beckett, Theater of the Absurd. Miller lost it, has to pick it up. Shot clock at 5. Ellis driving on Beekman, off balance, and Ellis able to draw the foul.
That's
on Beekman, his first.
That's pretty impressive from Ellis. He's got the basketball 6 seconds. Spacing is off. There's no real gap. He just has to put his head down and attack, and he draws that whistle. That's kind of what illustrates the position he's been thrust in this season. He's not a true point, but he has to be the point guard, ball dominant, and yet he makes something happen. That sequence, no different.
This Sunday, no football, so we load you up with more college basketball. Can UNC get back on track? Heels in Raleigh to take on NC State. Wolfpack fell to Syracuse on the road last night. Then it's Memphis taking on the number 2 team in the country, the Houston Cougars. What is ailing in North Carolina right now?
Consistency, shot-making ability from beyond the arc. I mean, they have been horrific. In that Clemson game, shot it well, but the 3 outside of that game, 3-point shot has just crushed that group.
Clark over to McNeely. His 3, no good. The rebound pulled down by Trainer.
Another place where Louisville has tightened up in this game, taking away second chance opportunities from Virginia.
Ellis contested over Kihei Clark.
The crowd is alive at the Young Center.
A 3-22 Louisville team midway through this first half, leading the number 7 team in the country. Here's Shedrick. He's seen his minutes dip late with Virginia employing the smaller lineup more. Trainer over Shedrick, and the rebound to Gardner.
Defensively, very impressed with what Louisville's doing, and I was impressed when I saw their personnel at shoot-around today. I said, they've got the length. They've got the length to guard, but it takes the effort, and you're seeing that length mixed with effort be productive defensively.
Beekman finds the cut in McNeely. That's what Beekman can do. We know Kihei Clark's a great passer, so is Reese Beekman.
Mike James got caught ball watching, and that was just a heady move for McNeely to go ahead and back cut him. Perpetual movement from Virginia's offense.
Lange against McNeely, freshman against freshman. Curry, skip pass, nearly intercepted. A collision as Clark went for the steal, and they'll get the foul on Kihei Clark, his first.
They are in rhythm, this Louisville team offensively. The dump down low to Sidney Curry. He knew the double team, read it beautifully, made the quick pass, but the flash of Lands into the paint to draw that foul. You're starting to see a group figure it out here this evening.
Here's Mike James, missed all of last year with a torn Achilles. Ellis feeling it, he's got 13.
JJ Trainer set a heck of a screen there. Heck of a screen to blow Kihei Clark off of the ball to allow their best scorer, Ellis, to come in rhythm and knock down the 3.
Shedrick sets the pick for Beekman, kicks it out to Clark. Clark got Ellis in the air. Give and go, back to Kihei for the easy 2.
Just the back cuts. A heady veteran group with high IQ. Let them watch. We'll cut, be receivers, and get easy.
Ellis almost turned it over. Virginia got a hand on it. Ellis, after scoring a career-high 33 Saturday, has scored the last 13 for Louisville, and he gets a much-deserved breather. He's not going to be out for long.
Can't be.
Miller for three. Off the mark. Offensive rebound, Curry. Backs down, Shedrick muscles it up and in. Clark the other way. Turnaround. No. Rebound lands. I'm not sure many expected this. It's still early, plenty of time left, but Louisville has come out inspired. Miller on the drive, blocked. There's Shedrick. And we get a foul on the Cardinals going the other way.
How about the start from this Louisville group? Come out, shot out of the cannon. Go ahead, Cards fans, throw the L's up. At least throw that one up. Ellis on fire. He's leading this team with 13 of Louisville's 20. And Anish and the fans out there watching, our audience, degree of difficulty high on the majority of these. And that's what Ellis is tasked with. The defense having the target on him, and yet still Virginia, one of the better defensive teams in the country. Ellis still getting what he wants tonight. 13 points, 4 or 5 efficient. He's only had 1 turnover. He's been the lighthouse.
3 for 3 from beyond the arc as well. And he has almost outscored Virginia by himself. Ellis, Mike James, Trainer, Withers, and DeLands, the original starting 5 out on the floor for Louisville. It's Beekman, Franklin back out there along with McNeely, Gardner, and Vander Plas. So Kihei Clark on the bench. There's McNeely on the drive. Franklin dumps it down low to Gardner. He's crafty down low. This time he's blocked. And Louisville playing some defense. Less than 7 minutes to go. First half.
Heck of an effort for a Trainer to come help side, allowing his length to be the difference.
Ellis the drive, the kick. James open. Splashes it in.
This right here is how Coach Payne wants the offense to look. Space, drive, kick, NBA ideals, but executing by finishing. A poor three-point shooting team put itself in position.
Franklin quiets the crowd. We were talking to Kenny Payne at shoot-around, and he mentioned the Golden State Warriors, the way they play, and he said so many people look at the Warriors and see great shooting. I see great spacing and great passing.
Yeah, and I see both, quite honestly. I mean, that is a part of it. But that play, that dribble drive from Ellis and that kick out to Mike James, that's who they want to be. How about the defensive effort from Trainer here to come over help side, his length greater than Gardner's offering. But right there, the kick out. Nobody around allows Mike James the look that he desires.
McNeely picked up the foul, just the 4th team foul on Virginia. And James has been rounding into form. A lot was expected of him last year, never got into a game due to a torn Achilles. Took him a while this year to get consistent. He's been much better in the new year as Trainer finishes with a nice move on the baseline.
And that's just unacceptable defensively from Vander Plas, and that's what they give up with him. He's a stretcher guy, providing the offense. He can be a liability defensively. They're not in the stands, didn't close out properly. Easy bucket for Louisville.
Virginia just 7 of 22 from the field. Make it 7 of 23 and 2 of 8 from deep.
Settlement of the highest order. You gotta pursue a better look than that. He's gonna go out. He's going out.
Gets it up. James off the shot fake down the lane. Franklin got a piece of it and a piece of James.
I'll tell you, they got what they wanted ultimately. James driving, but I'm playing on his side. That's post-repost from Trainer. Vander Plas has to prove to me he can guard in isolation. That needs to be a point to drive home for Louisville offensively right there. The few possessions come.
This Louisville team coming into the game with a 3-22 record. That is a win percentage of 120. If the season were to end right now, that would be the 3rd worst win percentage by any team in the history of the ACC. The only ones that were worse, Virginia in 1961 and Clemson in 1955, and yet here are the Cardinals with a 9-point lead on a top 10 team.
And for those wondering if Coach Payne is the guy for the job, look how this group is playing, especially this 3-half stretch of basketball from Miami to here. They're motivated and bought in.
Franklin draws the foul. And that's one thing we've seen from Armaan Franklin this year. If the perimeter look isn't there, he's been more aggressive taking the ball to the basket.
And that's part of being a next level guy, the ability when they respect the jump shot to then attack the closeout. Kind of clean to me coming help side or backside from Withers.
They call the foul on Lambs. Franklin busted out of a slump over the weekend at 9 of 13, 23 points. Was just 2 of 14 from the field and 8 points in his previous 2 games combined. 7-point advantage for Louisville. Looking for just their 2nd ACC win of the season and just 4th win overall. They started 0-9 on the campaign. Gardner with the steal. Up ahead to Franklin on the breakaway and the flush.
It's a heck of a defensive effort from Gardner. The timing to get in that passing lane. The IQ to offer it up to allow Franklin to run out. Live ball turnovers. The bugaboo of this Louisville team. Can't have too many sequences like that.
Meanwhile, Virginia has yet to turn it over in the first half. Ellis kicks it out to Withers. Open for 3. Great look, just couldn't finish.
Hell, Ellis. He got the attention. Not 1, not 2, 3 defenders to allow Withers that look. Unbelievable.
Franklin's got 9 to lead Virginia. And he is fouled on the drive by Mike James.
It's playing Louisville at times, playing good basketball, but those turnovers and the
moral wins. But in a season that has gone the way this one has for the Cardinals, you start looking at now the last 4 games. Yes, there was the blowout to Pitt. Against Florida State, they were down double digits, rallied back, made it close, almost won. If not for a bad start to the first and second half, they're right there with Miami. And then tonight at home against number 7, Virginia. Again, given the tradition, the history, and the winning that's taken place here, that may not sound like a lot, but it's got to mean something for Kenny Payne.
A locker room that hasn't quit. A team that's 3-22. Look, they'd like to be learning at a faster rate. What it comes down to is they're just not there. But you saw that huddle. Coach Kenny Payne, Coach Danny Manning, Coach Nolan Smith. These guys aren't going to allow this for long.
Too easy. Vander Plas off the feed from Beekman. And Virginia winning 3. Cavaliers only 36% from the field, 2 of 8 from 3. They have not turned it over. And Louisville +2 on the glass.
Speaks to Coach Bennett's acumen. A nice ATO executed to perfection.
Air turnover. Looked like Withers may have jammed a finger.
They run 2. Curry's got to make a decision. Left his
Curry,
feet. That's
jump
a no-no.
pass. That's dangerous. Shot clock down to 2. Ellis through Gardner. Withers. No good. Rebound Franklin.
Disjointed offensive possession. Lucky they even got an offering up at the rim.
Virginia can tie it with a 3. Gardner dangerous in the high post. Franklin on the drive. Pass Curry. And the putback is there by Gardner. They got a foul down low as well.
Pick and roll defense failed Louisville in that possession. They didn't wall off. They didn't show hard enough. In Withers, you can't do that dance. Withers needs to get that to be a retreat dribble from Franklin. He didn't stay long enough, so then that gap is just there to exploit. Those are the little things defensively where the bodies are there, but the execution mentally isn't conjoined.
A foul on the shot by Franklin, waved off the Gardner basket. Withers to the bench. We remind you on Saturday, these Louisville Cardinals on the ACC network getting set to host the Clemson Tigers. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on the ACC network.
And my eyes just went to Coach Payne saying, I promise you the exact same thing to Jalen Withers as he walked away. You got to present yourself to demand that retreat dribble, not allow that gap on the help on the pick and roll.
They are looking at Withers' hand on the Louisville bench at the very end of it. It looked like he might have jammed a finger on that possession where he didn't handle a pass clean. Franklin driving left hand, and we are tied at 26. Armaan Franklin asserting himself. He's got a dozen.
As good as Ellis has been, I'd argue Armaan Franklin's been even better. A 9-0 run, and a lot of it's been because of the driving lanes of Franklin.
Curry maneuvering through a double team, has it knocked away, and it's taken by Virginia. Beekman pushing, driving on Ellis, kicks to McNeely. Vander Plas over Trainer, and Virginia with the lead. It's 12 unanswered, and Kenny Payne calls a timeout.
As good as Louisville's been, feels like Virginia's game. And look at McNeely, left his feet but had a plan. Vander Plas, Trainer's got to get out there. That is a sharp shooter, makes him pay in rhythm. We're seeing that rhythm come together for this Virginia group. Its final 2 minutes, critical to the outlook of this ballgame.
And at times this year, Louisville, when hit with a haymaker, has not been able to get off the canvas as Vander Plas commits the reach-in on Ellis.
First 16 foul. Cardinal basketball. In the game for the Cards, number 5.
The lead for Virginia right now, the first since it was 9-7. Here's Ellis, he's got 13 points. Another tough shot, that one rolls out.
Can't have a prettier miss than that one. Another highly contested shot. But Ellis comfortable taking it.
Franklin back to Vander Plas, open, back iron, here's Lambs. And coming into the game for Louisville, Brandon Huntley Hatfield. He had missed the last 8 games with a right foot injury. He's been practicing for more than a week. Look good and shoot around today.
He's going to be challenged to defend Vander Plas in pick and rolls as Vander Plas is a step-out guy. He's going to have to show the mobility to defend that one.
Ellis, baseline drive, has to give it up. Shot clock at 1. And that is a shot clock violation, the Virginia specialty. To go back to Huntley Hatfield for a moment, what he gives Louisville is another presence inside. He was their top rebounder before getting hurt.
This guy was a high-level recruit coming into college, made his way over here to Louisville, and a top 25 level recruit before he found a home here. He's got talent. He's got a place.
Transfer.
Yeah.
Final 30 seconds of the first half. Vander Plas wanted it. He's got the mismatch on Ellis. Kicks it out to Beekman. Now it's Franklin. Great ball movement. Offensive rebound. Gardner, he gets bumped. And that will be the 7th team foul on Louisville, so a 1-1, or rather the 6th team foul.
I'll tell you right now, Gardner got away with the push-off to create the opportunity, an offensive rebound right there. But savvy move from a guy who's played a lot of college basketball.
Virginia.
Tony Bennett uses a timeout. Ball 16.7 seconds to go first half. Louisville just committed its 6th team foul, so no free throws coming. And it's Gardner, Franklin, McNeely, Vander Plas, and Beekman. Kihei Clark's been out for a while for Virginia.
It's nice when you can have Reese Beekman be your ball-dominant guy, and then you got Franklin move to the 3 with McNeely out there. This is going to be a great look.
Vander Plas falling down, and the rebound knocked out of bounds.
Vander Plas set that up nicely, step back, bounce back off the screen from Gardner. Got a look they wanted. 0.9 is enough for a catch and quick release.
Beekman will inbound. Vander Plas, catch and release, no. And that takes us to halftime. Ellis scored 13 to lead the Cardinals. He scored 13 in a row at one point. Armaan Franklin got going, taking the ball to the basket. Virginia trailed most of the first half, but they take a 3-point lead to the locker room. 29-26, your score.
In the 90s. Good luck, Louisville. This game's playing right now for the mathematicians out there, late 50s, early 60s. That's a manageable game for this offense that is defunct, quite frankly, for Louisville. But they took care of the basketball, they took good shots, and they gave themselves a shot. Can they do that here in extended play in the second half?
Late 50s, early 60s, so that's what Eisenhower era basketball. Yes. Here comes Franklin, over to Gardner, and swoops in for two. Virginia going the other way.
I told you about those 12 turnovers for Louisville against Miami. That's not a high number, but 20 points given up off those turnovers. You can't have pick sixes. Louisville will get run out of the gym if they have sequences like that.
Live ball turnovers. Ellis driving, pulls up over Clark, and he's got 15, more than half of Louisville's 28.
Very cerebral move. Couple rhythm bounces, rise, fire.
Here's Kihei Clark. He tied London Parentes' school record with his 132nd at game started. Beekman swivels in, rebounded Trainer.
It's a good effort defensively from the freshman. Kamari lands at 6'8", utilizing his length to be a disruptor.
Trainer kicks to James. It comes back to Ellis. Good ball movement. Withers on the drive. Baseline fall away. Got it.
Bottle that up, Louisville fans, and try to present that every offensive possession. Everybody had a touch, move the basketball, find a gap and an advantage while that defense is shifty and vulnerable and attack.
Beekman baseline. Driving and draws the foul. It looks like they'll get Lambs.
You want spacing, you want movement, touch here, draw and double, swing, nothing, swing, nothing, swing. A drive and attack and closeout against a vulnerable defender in Vander Plas, and rise over Gardner, utilizing your size and your ability to finish.
Beekman without a field goal tonight. That was his second point, had a couple of assists in that first half. James working on Clark, the runner not there. Rebound to Vander Plas.
Where James can grow, playoff two. Come to a jump stop, compose, then lift for the offering at the rim. Was out of control, never squared the shoulders to be an effective finisher.
Vander Plas traveling.
This length is starting to bother Vander Plas a lot. But you are now 22 minutes into a basketball game. That's the first turnover for Virginia. That's nearly impossible. That's what Virginia presents. You've got to go beat this team. They ain't going to beat themselves.
They had a game against Wake Forest this year where they didn't turn it over in the first half, so they've done that before.
It's crazy.
Only 9 turnovers a game for Virginia.
18 and 22-year-old kids are full of bad decisions, and yet Virginia seemingly makes none of them on a basketball floor.
Ellis, that one doesn't go. Trainer, the offensive rebound, and left the putback short.
When the bunny becomes a bear.
That's not fun. Probably wasn't a bunny in the first place.
Facts.
Gardner baseline, no. Trainer skies for the carry. Withers calling for it in the corner. Ellis never saw him. Ellis on the drive through the clouded wrath of the defense, kicks it back to Lambs. His pull-up not there. Lands the steal. Up ahead to Withers. Louisville gives it back. Now Franklin. Thought about the three. Drives. Dumps it off. Gardner down low.
There is your 2023 edition of Louisville basketball.
That's a 4-point swing.
You just got to think it. I mean, lands on the throw ahead. You got to see it better.
Ellis nearly lost it. Shot clock down to 10. James working on Clark. Jump stop. Needs help. James lowers his body. Contact, no foul. Rebound Franklin.
That was a charge. Kihei Clark was in position, didn't bite on the head fakes, took the contact. They got away with one there in Louisville.
Gardner, nice move down low. That's what he can do. That's why he's going to score 30 at the Y for the rest of his life.
I mean, make no mistake, this guy was one of the primary weapons a year ago for this Virginia team. They've taken a step offensively, he's taken a back seat. But when his number's called, Jake Gardner is ready to deliver. A little bit of the spin to win. Head fake. Oh, you ain't coming? All right, I'm out.
Anish Schraub, Jordan Cornette, Virginia led by 3 at the half. The lead is now 7, a few minutes into this second half. We mentioned the first few minutes of this half would be critical for Louisville. Live ball turnovers. They've had a couple of those. Can't do that against Virginia.
The first 4 minutes of this game were so critical because Louisville needed to show that they weren't going to go away and they weren't going to resort to those bad habits. We did see that with those live ball turnovers that went the other way, but it hasn't been a group that's folded. There's still a fight here, but they need to be better with that basketball and give themselves a shot because Virginia can truly open this one up in the blink of an eye.
James posting up down low. A foul.
Time is out.
Media timeout, 15:35 to go. We'll step aside. Off Jordan Cornette. This is the latest bracketology. According to our guy Joe Lenardi, Virginia right now a 3 seed, Miami a 5, and then 8, 9. Now that puts you somewhat in proximity to the bubble as well. A lot of teams in the ACC teetering either on the bubble or near the bubble.
That's unacceptable. Above all else, you got to protect your goal. A mental lapse from Virginia, a Louisville team that stayed with the play. Going back to that field, Carolina in real danger of being the first preseason AP #1 to be left out of the tournament field. That hadn't happened since the tournament field expanded in '85.
Franklin off the window. The one I don't understand, and this is not so much bracketology or net rankings, but AP poll, how is Pittsburgh not ranked?
Yeah. But you know what? Don't get caught up in that, as you well know. The ranking doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, no.
You worry about that net. You worry about what Joey Brackett says about you because my man gets it right every go-round.
Ellis drives, kicks, James, corner 3, and Louisville punching back.
For as good as Ellis has been, that's only his second assist of the game. But he's driven several times, attracted defenders, and found an open shooter. A group that struggles to shoot, getting pristine opportunities because of the talent that Ellis is and the willing passer he is as well.
Franklin to Beekman. He's had a few of what you would call hockey assists.
Yeah, the pass that leads to the pass that scores the ball, no question.
Ellis has 15 points on 5 of 8 shooting. James has 7. Lands falling away. And Louisville within 2.
This team is playing the best basketball of their season right now, and the fans appreciate it.
Gardner over Trainer. And Louisville can tie with a 2 and take the lead with a 3.
They run 2 defenders like that. Trainer's got to be ready to cut.
Here comes Ellis. Out to Lands, off the shot fake. Clark snatches it.
That's repetition. That'll come for the freshman Lance. That head fake, pull up, knockdown, jump shot.
Beekman into the teeth of the defense, turns it over. Eyes up for Ellis.
I mean, this is a spot where it's got to be L deciding. A big opportunity. Ellis has to be the decision maker, but going back to the defensive possession, the length of Lance and other like-minded bodies, that's who Louisville can beat defensively as they figure out this game of basketball at the collegiate level.
Meanwhile, Huntley Hatfield checks back in for Louisville. First game back after missing 8 with a right foot injury. He was moving pretty well in practice today. He's been practicing now for more than a week. Ellis to Huntley Hatfield. A blocking foul. No basket.
Right idea, Gardner. Just don't think he got there in time. Tries to get there, help side. Yeah, he wasn't in position. He's still moving, right call. Right idea from Gardner. Just a tick too late. He was outside the ring. He was still moving. Right whistle. They wanted that to be in the act of shooting. I ain't mad at him.
James to inbound. Ellis for the lead. McNeely comes away with it.
Mike James had good offensive rebounding position. Ball just careened off in a not ideal spot for him to corral.
James has been Louisville's second leading scorer in conference games. Franklin thought about the 3. Shedrick now in there for Virginia. A little more size. McNeely gives it up. Lands pushing. Down the lane. In traffic. Out of bounds. And it goes to Virginia.
Huntley Hatfield did a right job running the floor. Again, another offensive rebounding opportunity. Just couldn't get it. Lands a little bit out of control. Couldn't finish. And
ooh, that's a tough one.
That's a bang, bang whistle.
Hard to tell.
It's a bang, bang whistle.
James shadows Beekman. Another turnover. Lands driving on Franklin. And a foul on the floor. Franklin tied him up on the way to the brim.
And that was a wrap-up. That's going to have to be a flagrant 1.
Well, they are talking about just that. The crowd wants it.
They'll take a look. That's definitely going to go that way. Yeah, that's absolutely going to be. It wasn't the full-on wrap. The intent was there to a degree. You saw it. That should be the flagrant 1 whistle. Stand by. We'll let you know.
Officials at the monitor will be back. Louisville, where the chance officials, Paul Sells, came over and told us the last foul on Armaan Franklin was not a flagrant. It's a common foul. And again, by definition, one of the parameters for a flagrant foul is when you don't make a legitimate play on the ball. And that looks like a wrap. It doesn't look like he's making a legitimate play on the ball. I'm surprised that wasn't a flagrant 1.
And that's what I asked Paul. I said it looked like Armaan. Initially, there was intent for the ball. I said it didn't seem like it had the intent. That, in that case, would warrant the flagrant 1, in my opinion. He said it wasn't excessive enough in nature. Because Armaan Franklin didn't wrap entirely around the body, there was no belief to say this is a flagrant 1 level. So it's a common foul. We continue playing basketball.
And that foul is on the floor, so a flagrant would have given Louisville free throws. Instead,
I do not agree with it, let the record show. I thought that was in the flagrant 1 territory.
Oh, inside, gorgeous move. And we're tied at 39. He's got 17. Clark, dribble drive, dumps it off for Shedrick.
So cool, the sheep count that man when he sleeps. Kihei, Clark, crowd getting into it. Let me just draw 2 defenders, dump off to my big for a flush. Just a cool customer who's played more basketball than most at this level. It's a national champion. Started in that game as a freshman. He ain't gonna beat the Turtle.
And made one of the biggest plays of that tournament run right here in Louisville against Purdue. Here's the steal. Franklin the other way. Trainer chasing him. Franklin missed it. Vander Plas able to recover. J.J. Trainer has impacted this game defensively.
Those sweeping passes cross court aren't easy against this length of Louisville.
And Shedrick slipped out of bounds back to Louisville.
This Louisville team is getting the swing pass cross court that is beneficial for any offense. Just isn't easy with the length of Louisville and their ability to get deflections. But Armaan Franklin, you got to see that one through.
6 turnovers by Virginia in the second half after none in the first 20 minutes. Ellis 6 out of 10, 3 of 5 from deep, 17 points. Shot clock inside of 10. Trainer with the 3, and he gives Louisville the lead. Just a 26% three-point shooter.
But the confidence and belief has arrived here in Louisville this evening.
Trainer entering play was one of his last 15 from beyond the arc. McNeely answers.
That's a no. All right, we'll take it. It's one of those moments for Virginia. McNeely fully has that in his bag, but wasn't the proper place. But I've been correct. I mean, they're running 2. I'd have L make a decision with the basketball, find the opportunity every time.
Withers with space on the baseline, and we're tied at 44. Clark, that's a long 2. Got it.
He just provides everything that's necessary. You need a bucket. He attacks, drives, sucks 2 defenders, dump off. And he can be a scorer when asked to do it. He's been asked to do so much in his career at Virginia. He can put on any hat necessary in role play.
And he's got some fond memories, as we were talking about, in this building. The Purdue game, the Mamadi Diakite shot. It was Clark who made the pass and had the assist on one of the seminal plays. That the Kyle Guy shot against Auburn. Those are the plays that you remember. That play will live forever in Virginia lore. It happened in Louisville. Withers 3, not there.
Who knew they might need those type of late game heroics versus a 3-win Louisville team this evening?
I don't think many expected a 2-point game at this juncture. Vander Plas straight away.
Got it. You see the offensive weaponry. For Louisville, they've had their role players step up and make plays, but ultimately the burden is on Ellis. That is not the case for Virginia. A lot of different shot makers can step up.
Virginia 38% from 3 in conference, and a foul on Vander Plas. That 38% three-point clip in ACC games tops in league play.
But that's where you got to attack Vander Plas. We know about him offensively. Can he guard down low? Hunter Hatfield was the guy to challenge there, but it's got to be a Withers. It's got to be a Trainer. They have to look at, hey, let's see how this guy can post defend.
Here comes Ellis. Through the trees, needs help, and blocked by Reese Beekman.
Reese Beekman not taking the bait. Defensive discipline on 10. Ben Vander Plas hails from Ripon, Wisconsin. He loves to fish.
Since halftime.
Yeah, it started with Kihei Clark with the dribble drive, then dump off to Gardner for the dunk. And it kind of settled the group, like, okay, here we go. Then you got McNeely knocks down the early shot clock three. Kihei Clark goes and makes a bucket. And then you got Vander Plas ripping the nets, if you will, from Ripon, Wisconsin. All that's come together. Now the challenge is, can we be the team that's a top 10 team in the country? Can we be the team that gets stops, puts this game away so it doesn't come down to winning moments in the final few minutes? That's where I want to see the growth from Virginia.
Denise Schropp, Jordan Cornette, Wednesday night in Louisville at the KFC Yum Center. This Cardinals team that has lost 22 of 25 games, they've been hanging with Virginia throughout the night.
Ellis got too unselfish there, to his detriment. You got to just float. That's got to be float game all day.
Virginia's made its last 3 from the field. They play it late into the shot clock as usual. Dunn is in there, and Clark able to draw the foul. It's on Trainer.
That's just a challenge for Trainer with his length and size to get low to the ground, that running back level that Kihei Clark plays at. A true challenge, couldn't keep up, forced a foul.
Vander Plas a rebound away from a double-double. Vander Plas for 3, front rim, tapped out. That's done. He is going to be a special player down the road for Virginia. Clark on the inside, able to draw the foul, and he took a hard spill.
This is when Kihei Clark starts to light up. Final 7 minutes of what's been a close contest. This is where your veterans come to the focus. And Kihei Clark has played more minutes and won more games than most in this conference in history.
The 6'8" freshman out of Freeport, New York, Ryan Dunn. His defense in the second half against Duke, that was a game changer for Virginia.
He's got such a high ceiling. I mean, just has every bit the look of a guy that could be a next level guy. The skill will come, the body will fill out, but he's so long, so fluid, so skilled, and has taken incremental steps throughout this season to be a rotational piece that can help them win.
Ellis gets free. Vander Plas the rebound, and he has his first double-double as a Cavalier. Clark gets it back from Beekman, 15 to shoot. The drive, shot fake, Louisville doesn't bite. Clark shimmies inside and gets the 2. That's the wily fifth-year vet.
He's just a winner. He's never compromised with how he plays the game. There's no erratic nature in his approach, especially when it comes down to this point. He's gotten in that painted area, and he's been devastating.
That one knocked away. At shoot-around earlier today, Kenny Payne and Danny Manning and the Louisville coaches were telling all their guys, when Kihei Clark gets down underneath the basket, he's going to shot fake.
Yeah. He's been 5'10" his whole life. He understands what it takes to be able to be effective down there, and it's patience and it's waiting to strike, and he's as good as any at that. And down the stretch here, he has made so many winning plays. We're still 6 minutes out, but that's why this lead is almost back to double figures.
That's a 9-point advantage, Virginia's largest lead. Cavaliers on a 9-0 run. Intercepted, here's Beekman, another live ball turnover. The lob for Dunn, who draws the foul.
This is the unraveling. This is what Louisville has done time and time again this season. Carelessness with that basketball, and not just a giveaway, but a giveaway that goes to scoring on the other end. You can't have that when you're the inferior unit that is already trying to play uphill.
Land has picked up his third. Terrific women's basketball matchup on ESPN tomorrow night. Olivia Miles and number 10 Notre Dame.
Come on.
Hosting 19-8 Louisville. Notre Dame 11-3 in the ACC, just a game behind first place Duke. Virginia entering tonight just a half game behind Pittsburgh, who leads the ACC. Panthers picked to finish 14th They've reloaded with transfers, and much like Virginia, those are two old teams playing with a lot of grown men, as Dunn is called for the foul.
By the way, you're obligated when mentioning Notre Dame women's hoops to mention Olivia Miles, the most entertaining player, or one of them, excuse me. Apologies to Kate and Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and others, but she's as entertaining as the rest.
And she's got Notre Dame right in the thick of it again. 53-44. Ellis using the Curry screen. Withers gets past Dunn, who fell down. And Jalen Withers, a 77% free throw shooter, to the free throw line.
Again, I can't stress this enough about Louisville. They have such long athletes. Jalen Withers, absolutely one of them. Slow developing, but able to get there. Defensively, they need to be consistently good. If the offense isn't there, fine. But this group needs to say, for the rest of this season, to be disruptors to other teams, we have to lead with our defense, and we have to take care of the basketball. And with our length and athleticism, we'll at least have a chance in some of these games.
You can tell from talking to Kenny Payne, yes, there's been progress made here in the last few weeks, getting closer against some opponents. But you get the sense they're going to have to win a couple of these games to really build that momentum heading into next season. Already 22 losses. That is a program record. Oh, barring a miracle, Louisville will finish with single-digit wins in a season for the first time since the 1941-1942 season, when they went 7-10 as an independent. Clark swims around Curry.
I mean, this Kihei Clark, you gotta laugh. He's so valuable. You have to chuckle.
James calling for it. Launches and hits. That's 10 for the redshirt freshman Mike James.
Now they're gonna apply some full court pressure a little bit. Try and speed things up some. Not heavy pressure. Try and shorten the clock a little bit. Got to put together some stops if you're Louisville. And it starts with stopping the dribble penetration of Kihei Clark.
Clark guarded by Miller. Vander Plas wide open.
Cindy Curry has zero interest in guarding out there. Vander Plas can have himself a couple minutes here of clean looks and basically the world offensive.
James, now it's Withers from the wing. Rolls out, Curry the rebound, and the gentle drop in.
I mean, what a push-off on Vander Plas that there was no whistle. And Duke fans rejoice.
Clark has the mismatch on Curry. Takes him to the basket, using the shot fake. Back to McNeely, over Miller. It's good! The freshman rattles in a three, and the lead swells back to 8.
Unflappable offensively. But it's Kihei Clark with the kick out to McNeely. Again, factoring in somehow.
Ellis has been quiet here of late. Not easy going up against Clark and Beekman for 40 minutes, yet he finds a way. That's 19 for Ellis. A two-possession game as we come up on 3 minutes to play in regulation. Down low, Gardner, all too easy.
Ball watching. Don't watch me, watch TV, and just an easy dump down. A mental lapse in the highest order for Louisville in the interior defense.
Here comes Withers driving on Gardner. Blocked at the rim, and Gardner called for his second foul. Can Virginia hang on, or can Louisville pull a stunner? 2:51 to go.
Think about what Kihei Clark means to Virginia, what he's been in these final few minutes of this game, is saying, no. I know what winning is and what it takes. I'm going to go ahead and do it here. And look, the conversation about Kihei Clark, oh, he's been around for a decade. He's played here for so long. I get it all. But also worth noting in that is he's played at a high level for all these years as well. This young man was tasked with being a freshman and starting in a national championship game in 2019. And since then, the ask from Coach Bennett has differed every year, and he's answered the call. He is one of the most important players in Virginia basketball history. Make no mistake about it.
And we've seen him improve and grow his game. He's become a better outside shooter. And one of the great leaders in college basketball as we speak.
I don't know how emotional Coach Bennett is, but he's going to cry when he leaves. He's going to cry when Kihei Clark leaves, because these guys have been through so much together, and Kihei's been such an important piece of so very much.
You think about it, over the last decade, Virginia's been the most consistent winner in this conference, and Kihei Clark has been there for about half of those years. 6-point game, Louisville still with a chance here. Ellis. Trainer getting ready to check in for the Cards. 10 to shoot. Land has picked up his dribble. Now it's Withers. He's had touch from the baseline. Franklin pokes it away.
Such a good defender. I mean, just had his eye trained on. He knew Trainer was going to be vulnerable with that basketball because those are tendencies. It got that deflection to create an opportunity for Virginia to build.
Nine on the shot clock, 1:40 to play. Franklin with 5 to shoot against Withers. And the contact and the foul on Jalen Withers. Louisville still with 1 foul to give. And this gives Virginia more time to run off. Vander Plas against a Trainer. Finding Clark, misses the bunny. Miller the rebound, still a 2-possession game.
Got to go a little bit faster.
Ellis accelerates. And a foul on the floor before the shot. 18 foul on Virginia, so Ellis, an 80% free throw shooter, goes to the line for a 1-and-1.
Love the awareness from Ellis. Knew exactly that. The clock is no longer something you can afford to watch those seconds tick, and with urgency, drove that thing and initiated contact.
3rd foul on Kihei Clark. 19 points tonight for Ellis. And he now has his 11th 20-point game of the season. 2 of those 30-point games, including Saturday at Miami. .1:16 to go. We get a timeout from Louisville. It's a 4-point game. Now listen, it hasn't been the season that Cardinals fans wanted, and that's a massive understatement. But I think you can applaud their effort tonight.
No question. You know, when we travel and do these games, obviously, Anish, we go to the shoot-arounds for both teams, and we talk to the coaches and personnel to give you the best broadcast we can. We went to Virginia's. How long did that last?
About 20 minutes.
Because they know who they are. Coach Bennett's got this group aligned for a run in March. How long was it? How much coaching was done in Louisville?
That felt more like a practice than a shoot-around. And we saw Kenny Payne blow the whistle, stop plays. Guys, you got to get this right.
Micromanaging everything because it's a group that's learning culture and how to win. The job is just different right now when it comes to Coach Payne as opposed to Bennett. Credit to Bennett because he's got it to that place. It's taken time to have an elite program. Coach Payne has what it takes. He just has to do it very meticulously now to get them there. Tonight, motivated, executed, and reason for optimism in what has been a lost season.
And Kenny Payne told his team at the start of the shoot-around, you have a golden opportunity tonight against a nationally ranked top 10 team, one of the best in college basketball coming to your house. He reiterated that message a couple of times when practice ended. Virginia gets it across half court. We come up on a minute to play.
It's nice to have these three guards. Very trustworthy, all three, good at the free throw line. That's how you close out the close ones. Something Virginia has a penchant for.
Beekman against Lambs. Out to Clark, shot fake. Shot clock at 4, reverse layup, not there. And a foul is called.
Good head fake from Kihei Clark. Felt like a travel. There was some contact. If not a travel, is unorthodox. I actually don't know if he traveled. There was enough contact for a whistle. I think it was a slip unorthodox that made it look like a travel. I don't think on the replay it was. There was enough contact to warrant somewhat of a whistle there. I'm okay with the call. There was contact.
One out of 2 for Clark, a career 80% free throw shooter. Still a 2-possession game. Final 45 seconds. Ellis looking to get free. Beekman shadowing him. James dribbles. Now it's Ellis on Clark. Ellis driving, turns. No good. Trainer the offensive rebound and the putback. 3-point game. Less than a second difference. For the game today, Virginia 9 out of 14 at the stripe.
Tell you, looking at McNeely there, he's made some big-time shots for this Virginia team. Kihei Clark, the inbounder, small in stature, but always makes the proper decision. That's why they elect to go with him as the inbounder. Smart. Now Withers has to be long here. I mean, there is an advantage to Withers to maybe get a deflection.
Clark runs the baseline. Looking for help. He's got to call a timeout. It looked like Vander Plas was open, but Clark, knowing what Louisville knows, if it goes to Vander Plas, 59% free throw shooter, that is an immediate foul.
And so why do you have Kihei Clark as the inbounder? He knows exactly what you know. Rather than make that low percentage decision, just rethink it, go back, call the timeout.
So now if you're Tony Bennett, do you change the inbounder and maybe have a better free throw shooter as a potential receiver like a Kihei Clark?
No, I think they're still going to keep Kihei Clark as that decision maker. There's Link that has led to some deflections from Louisville all evening. So I think they still want him to be that guy delivering that basketball.
Virginia also has 2 timeouts.
No, it looks like Vander Plas, that 59% free throw shooter, is indeed going to be the inbound.
Trainer with that wingspan of an Andean condor will guard Vander Plas.
You also have the quickness of Kihei Clark to go get the
Now
basketball.
they don't defend the inbounder. They get it in quickly. And Clark is fouled. And a 1-and-1 coming for Virginia and Kihei Clark. Foul is on Ellis. 76% on the season, 80% for his career. Nobody in Virginia history has started more games. Nobody has won more games in school history. And nobody has won more games in the history of ACC play. And Clark misses the free throw. Louisville can tie with a 3. Ellis has it.
You don't need the 3. But you're running out of time. You got to move.
Withers against Franklin. Picks up his dribble. Lands.
Now you got to shoot a 3.
Here's Ellis. On Vander Plas. Over to Lands. 5 to shoot. Lands puts it up. Left it way short. It comes to Vander Plas, and he's fouled with a 1/10 of a second left. Louisville had a chance. They just couldn't get the look.
And they didn't have the timeouts to call the timeout and settle it. This is a team that doesn't know how to win yet. You have an opportunity to attack, get 2. You get 2, it's inevitably going to be a 1-possession game, yet still. But you loiter, you wait, you loiter, you wait, and you're forced to take a 3. And Ellis, your guy, doesn't even have a hand in it. Just another tough, close loss for a team that doesn't get it.
Now the embers of heartbreak will linger for Louisville. Virginia escapes.
It hurts not having that timeout to get your puppies in a row.
And that'll do it. I don't think anybody expected this game with these two teams to be this close. Louisville battled all night. At the end, you saw the experience, the savvy of an older Virginia team against a Cardinals team that just hasn't figured out how to close, as you said.
No, and one guy that has figured it out, Kihei Clark. Hat tip to that young man. Quite